Hey guys, thank you for stopping by on this morning. Today we are going to continue breaking down some of the biggest findings in the Pandora Papers so far. It appears that Baker McKenzie built a huge global brand that sells tax avoidance to the biggest oligarchs and sanctioned companies. I guess ethic classes at college were skipped by members of this firm because some of the unearthed evidence is stirring a huge debate as to whether law firms should face consequences for helping millionaires and billionaires actively avoid taxes. I want to thank Sydney Friedberg for her amazing work at the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which has inspired me to make this video for you guys. Before we start, let me quickly state that I am not a financial advisor, and that all content discussed in this channel is simply information gathered that I deem important for people to know, so that they can make informed decisions. All efforts are aimed to better understand the nature of the current market in anticipation of the greatest squeeze in financial history. Let's get started. The offshore economy keeps on giving more and more by the day. Revelations are surfacing, accusing one of the world's biggest and most influential law firms as serving a conglomerate of oligarchs, sanctioning companies and fraudsters as well. Chicago-based Baker McKenzie, hometown of bullet-dodging Kenny, and their affiliates have made good profits working for some of the most controversial companies and people according to the Pandora Papers. The firm has also been linked to playing a huge role in shaping the entire offshore system while also promoting aggressive tax avoidance strategies used by corporations in order to hoard profits in tax havens. When you have a growing perception by society in which lawyers are seen putting the interests of their clients high and above the public interests on a regular basis, the trust that people have in the system begins to break down piece by piece. This is one of the reasons why politics has recently become so aggressive in the recent years. A growth of inequality matched with powerlessness will result in a lot of social unease. Much of the growth behind meme stocks can be attributed to people feeling wronged by the government in the rich class. Look through any forum and you will see countless expressions of frustrations with the way in which people work so hard to get so little reward. Now we have law firms being caught engaging in extremely unethical behavior that allows the richest to hoard whatever little is left for us. As editor-in-chief for Law.com Paul Hodkinson wrote, "The right to legal advice has always been a fundamental part of the law, but to what extent do firms choose to avoid clients with questionable reputations may become a bigger topic of debate. There is providing legal advice, and then there is going the extra mile for a questionable cause." Baker McKenzie has already started making counter-arguments, disagreeing with many of the takes by the public and journalists, suggesting their firm is highly selective, and that many if not all of the current documents and conclusions derived from such documents contain inaccuracies and that at best, those documents are speculative in nature. They then come with the vomit-inducing statement where they say Baker McKenzie is built on the principles of integrity, transparency, professionalism, and adherence to the higher standards of ethics where they advise clients around the world on matters of law, and strictly comply with the law in every jurisdiction in which they operate. Now, let me break this down to you in smooth terms, as lawyers love to talk a lot and say very little. They are giving out a very technically correct answer that does not address any of the concerns being raised. They said the advice they give their clients comply with the laws of whatever jurisdiction they operate from. Nobody is saying they are necessarily doing illegal case management, but rather that they are operating under an unethical guise by which they have obviously crossed the line by every metric they could be judged by. They say they adhere to all high standards of ethics, while simultaneously being linked to some of the biggest criminals and corrupt people according to the leaked Pandora documents. If none of the leaked documents and data was true, they would have more accurately pointed out where the documents were wrong with data, but they didn't. Instead, they opted out to give this weird statement that answered none of the raised concerns, which to me indicates guilt. Many experts in the field are already suggesting that the investigations taking place right now could spur law firms to rethink their client vetting process, and for this I am really happy. I do not know much about the judiciary part of our government, but if review of all that is going on could spark debate in Congress about the legality of such actions, I am all the happier. William Burns, a Texas A&M law professor, questioned Baker McKenzie's due diligence of its former client, Joe Lowe, during an interview. For those that don't know, Joe Lowe is a fugitive businessman accused of being the mastermind behind a scheme to embezzle billions of dollars from Malaysia's Economic Development Fund. He stated that attorneys have to ask what the source is during the vetting process. You cannot tell me that Baker McKenzie did not know about any of this. They probably knew about it, but made sure to not write or formally vet the person because if they did, they could later be held accountable for ignoring the clear and present danger that arises from representing such a questionable figure. Lawmakers have already proposed legislation that would force lawyers to vet clients to ensure they aren't laundering any dirty money as well. An anti-corruption professor named Barrington has said legal profession's defense of itself has always been that all clients are equal before the law, and that access to justice is and should be a right, and that even the most corrupt, such as oligarchs, are innocents under the eyes of the law until proven guilty. However, in a recent article, he expressed that this defense does not work well in the age of cross-border deals and globalization, which I agree 100% with. The principles that were initially designed to protect the disadvantaged and downtrodden are now being used to protect those who inflict victims. The cracks in the justice system are starting to show, and as the world continues to grow more complex, especially through globalization and the nullification of borders as we once knew them, the more ways by which criminal scum will find clever ways by which to hide their money and amass wealth without technically breaking the law. The laws are outdated and can no longer protect us from the wealthy who do so much harm to the world, and as such we need a complete reset or overhaul of the system. Meme stocks are a lucky find that we came across, and due to the negligent arrogance of Wall Street, we lucked out into a huge transfer of wealth of incalculable magnitudes. However, what will happen after such event? Will the world go back to as it is now? If so, all the problems will continue to stomp on the little guys. We might not feel the pressure of the force, as meme stockholders, upon the squeeze, will transfer over to the 1%, but the reality of this ever-decaying world will still manifest. I still have faith though, as many lawyers and people in politics are starting to publicly question what is happening and call for open dialogue and change. There is still hope in the system, though it seems as it is all lost. I, however, don't trust in luck, and as such will continue to hedge my future in meme stocks, in GameStop and AMC. I hope to have inspired a wrinkle here and there in regards to this developing situation that is the Pandora Papers. A lot of work has been done to uncover a lot of these stories, and I want to thank Sydney Friedberg for taking her time to uncover much of what we discussed here today. This is all I have for you guys this morning. Let me know what you think below in the comments and if you enjoyed the video. I found it pretty crazy how huge firms are now being caught taking part in all of this mess, but none of it surprises me. I think I am at a point where I just expect every single member in the system to be involved in these type of activity. What would be surprising would be for a huge firm not to be involved in this in some way. The due diligence I have made in regards to the markets have turned me quite cynical, and even my wife's boyfriend is now telling me to cheer up. Let me know if you sort of expected the same or were you genuinely surprised about it. Are you feeling as cynical as I am, or are you guys still unchanged for the most part? Tell me everything below. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. You guys are all amazing. If you want to support the channel, I have left links in the description for my Patreon if you would like to pledge a monthly support of any amount you want. I also left a PayPal and Cash App link if you want to make a one-time donation. Have a great day. I hope to see all of you later in the afternoon for a talk and recap on GameStop and AMC. Until then, stay cool-headed, buy the dip if you can and hold to the moon.